Hey friends, Pastor Travis here. I record these videos on Tuesday, so the date might be off from when you're watching this, but tomorrow, July 16th, 2025 is National Hot Dog Day. And I know what you're thinking. Really, Pastor, we're talking about hot dogs? But stick with me for a minute, because sometimes God shows up in the most ordinary places. Look, I get it. When you flip on the news or scroll through your feed, it feels like the world's falling apart. It's enough to make you want to throw in the towel, but here's the thing. When everything feels heavy, sometimes that answer isn't found in the big, complicated stuff. Sometimes it's found around a grill, sharing a simple meal with people you care about. I remember when I was in seminary a few years back, and we had this massive winter storm that knocked out power for 2.5 days. The whole campus was dark, our apartments were freezing, and everyone was scrambling to figure out what to do. But here's what happened. Somebody had the bright idea to fire up the grills outside before all the meat in our freezers went bad. So there we were, families and students huddled around these grills in the middle of winter, sharing whatever we had, hot dogs, burgers, chicken, it didn't matter. We sat together in the cold, passing around blankets and stories, kids running around between tables. It wasn't exactly comfortable, but you know what? It was enough. Actually, it was more than enough. In the middle of that chaos, we found something we'd been missing sometimes in our daily seminary lives: real community. Sometimes it takes losing power to remember what really gives us strength. You know, the Bible gets this. Proverbs 15:17 puts it perfectly. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a fattened ox and hatred with it. It's not about having the fanciest food or the perfect setup. It's about showing up with love. Here's what I've learned. When the world feels like it's going to pieces, don't underestimate the power of pulling up a chair. Americans eat about 7 billion hot dogs every summer. That's a lot of people gathering around grills, sharing stories, and just being present with each other. Maybe it's time to fire up that grill. Maybe it's time to knock on your neighbor's door. Maybe it's time to text that friend you've been meaning to call and say, hey, come over. I've got hot dogs. And we can figure out the rest. See, Jesus knew something we often forget. Some of his most powerful moments happened around tables, not in temples or boardrooms, but breaking bread with ordinary people. The sacred isn't hiding in some far-off place. It's right here in the simple act of making space for someone else. So tomorrow, when you're celebrating National Hot Dog Day, or any day really, remember this. When everything feels overwhelming, sometimes the most radical thing you can do is invite someone to share something simple. Because love isn't complicated. Love is making room at the table. This is your moment of peace for today. God's not just in the big moments. God's in the mustard and the relish, the laughter and the stories, the simple act of saying, there's room for you here. Take care, friends. I'll see you next week.